Hello and welcome to the second portion of our new major information session. In this session, we'll talk about the requirements for both the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science majors. We'll do a little bit of academic planning and review some other information that you should be aware of moving forward. With that, we'll dive right into the Bachelor of Arts requirements. So for the Bachelor of Arts, you need to complete both ECON 300 and 301 if you have not already, and earn grades of 2.0 or higher in both of those courses. You also need to complete ECON 382. ECON 382 is an introductory econometrics course. You should be fine with just 1/4 of calculus and your 1/4 of statistics. Keep in mind, Econ 382 is not offered every single quarter. In the past, it's usually offered in fall quarter and winter quarter, so keep that in mind when you're planning, that you won't be able to take it this winter, but we do plan on offering it again in the fall quarter. You also need 25 credits, which is in general 5 courses of 400 level electives in Econ. These can be any 400 level courses that you want, except for Econ 496, 497, and 499, which are our honors and independent study courses. And if you run a degree audit, you'll be able to see all these requirements well laid out. One thing I should note as well is that Econ 300, 301, and 382 must be taken at UW Seattle. For the Bachelor of Science requirements, we'll move to that on the website, show you how to find those. You can also run a degree audit for these. You also need to complete both Econ 300 and 301 with a 2.0 or higher in each course. And then we move on to the 400 levels. You don't have to complete Econ 382 like the Bachelor of Arts students, but instead of 5 400 levels, you have 6, and they're a little bit more regulated. We like students to get a quantitative background in economics, and this is our way of ensuring that occurs. So of your 6 400 levels, 3 courses or 15 credits are what we call theory and methods courses. And for these theory and methods, you must take either Econ 400 or 401. You need to take an econometrics course, and that can be 424, 482, or 483. And then the third theory and methods course can be any of the courses that are considered theory and methods that you have not already taken. And then on top of that, we need 3 400 level elective courses, excluding our honors and independent study. So that way you'll have a total of 6 400 level economics courses. And as with the BA, you need to complete Econ 300, 301, and you don't have to complete 382. Just 300 and 301 must be taken at UW Seattle. For both the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science, you do need to maintain a 2.0 grade point average in your Econ major. That doesn't mean you have to have a 2.0 in each course, aside from Econ 300 and 301, but you do need to maintain a GPA of 2.0 in your economics major.
Okay, and so you can see from those requirements that a lot of the choice is yours, and there's a lot of flexibility with the requirements for the major. For courses like Econ 300 and 301, those are offered every single quarter of the year, so highly flexible courses. You can put those in your plan pretty easily. Econ 382 is typically a autumn and winter course, so for those Bachelor of Arts students, you can plan to take that course either autumn or winter. For those 400 level courses, there's a resource that you may have seen on our website. You can catch that under undergraduate and course planning. There's a pretty cool resource called the preliminary schedule. It's something that our department does to help preview the academic year and the offerings that we're planning to have. So put it in your calendar for about we'll say mid to end of April or so. You'll see a 2017-2018 academic year preliminary schedule up. But just to show you a sample of what this year's preliminary schedule looked like, again, you can find this under course planning and registration. So you can see here, if there's a name beside a course, that is likely the instructor who has either agreed to teach the course or that the department plans to have teach that course. You can also see that for a given autumn, winter, and spring quarter, there's typically about 15 to 20 400 level courses offered, so that is a lot of selection. And again, for those Bachelor of Science students, there is quite a bit of those theory and methods courses scattered throughout the year. So this is something that I think can really help, especially planning into 2017, 2018. And so you'll want to check this resource. It should be renewed by the end of April. Something else that can help you with your planning, so if you've identified some possible courses that you might want to take, you can actually preview those courses pretty well through a course syllabus. And so for the last few quarters, we actually keep course syllabi on our website. Just to give you a sample of this current quarter, there's a collection of this quarter's course syllabi, and so you can check out a typical course syllabus. You can see obviously details about the class, any textbooks that are used, and websites that are used, and general background and good information, again, to help you preview a class.
One thing I would mention too, so for instance on this page you can see the Econ 400 and 401 don't have a link. Feel free to look at them in a previous quarter, because sometimes faculty members won't post syllabus for a current quarter if it's very similar to a syllabus from a prior quarter. So definitely look at the old syllabi to see if you can find something that may be missing.
Awesome. And so we know that there's just simply some subjects that are more popular than others, and so some classes, by the time you register for them, may have already filled. And so our department, the faculty of the department, have decided on an ad code policy. Again, you'll find that under course planning and registration. And so you'll want to make sure to read over this ad code request policy. It's a little extensive, but it's what the faculty and the department have kind of agreed upon. And it basically starts with just come to the first day of class and sign up on a permission sheet for the department to check whatever academic information the faculty needs to decide on whether or not you can have an ad code. Again, some of those classes can be popular, but using resources like the preliminary schedule can help you plan for when the next time you can take it, if it's full. And again, the ad code policy is something that the faculty decided, and so feel free to refer to that if you're trying to get into a class that has been filled or is closed. Most of you should also know about your degree audit reporting system, or DARS for short. That is an obvious resource that's introduced to you at orientation when you enter the university, and it's a great way to keep track of all of your economics major requirements, but as also your College of Arts and Sciences general education requirements, as well as your university requirements. So hopefully everyone has at least used DARS at least once. As advisors, typically when we get the question about like course planning and what requirements do I have left to do, we'll typically ask you if you've checked your DARS lately. So just make sure to check that regularly. I usually recommend to check it at least a few times a quarter, and especially around the time of registration. Something else that's really useful and that I see more and more students using is MyPlan. I wish I could show you a sample of it for those of you who are not familiar with it, but MyPlan is a great tool that can help you plan for future quarters, and you can actually put in all of your planned econ courses 2, 3, 4, or 5 quarters out, and run what's called a plan audit. And a plan audit is essentially like a DARS, but for your MyPlan, and it can catch anything that you might not have thought about in informing your MyPlan. And so we're big proponents of MyPlan, and it's a really cool tool to use if you have not yet used it already. For your future course planning, I would highly recommend to do so. All right, and so something not so fun to talk about is academic misconduct. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Let me talk a little bit about our satisfactory progress policy. And so the university actually has, we'll call them limits or thresholds for students who are planning to stay here quite a long time. So the minimums for the university, of course, are 180 credits for a single degree or single major. For those pursuing a double degree, that minimum number of credits is 225 credits. Now you may be wondering, what's the limit beyond that? It's essentially 30 credits beyond the minimum. And so for those pursuing one major or a double major, 180 plus 30 credits is 210 credits, and so that's essentially your credit limit. For those pursuing a double degree, it's 30 credits beyond the 225 credit minimum, so that brings you up to 255 as your credit limit here at the UW. For all students are allowed to have a 12-quarter experience here at the UW, and that's defined by 12 quarters of autumn, winter, and spring quarters. Summer quarter is not counted in that quarter count. So whichever side of that policy, whether it's the credit side or the quarter side of the policy, whichever side works better for you, then you can go ahead and go with that plan. This doesn't affect a large number of students. It really just affects students who are thinking that they're going to have a lot of credits by the time they graduate, or those planning to pursue double majors and double degrees. If you have more questions on what's called the UW's Satisfactory Progress Policy, you should see the link there under in your outline under number 4, letter F. Make sure to check out that link. It does really explain that policy pretty well.
I would also say on academic planning, one of the questions that Patrick and I receive very frequently is, well, can I schedule an appointment with you? I need to create an academic plan with you. And Patrick and I are certainly happy to meet with you, but we do ask that you create your own plan, and then we can certainly review that with you when we schedule an appointment. The reason we don't create an actual plan for you is it's because it's impossible for us to know what your plans and interests are. Some students may want to schedule an internship in a particular quarter. Some students may want to study abroad for a quarter or a year or a couple of quarters. Some students may want to plan service learning. There's no way for us to know all of your intentions and all of your plans. So that's why we ask you to create a tentative plan, and then we'd be happy to review that with you to make sure that you're fulfilling all of your graduation requirements and that you have the best chance of fitting in all of the activities that you'd like while you're still a student at UW. Again, with that though, keep in mind that if you want to review your plan, it's best to probably not do that during the week of registration, as that's when our appointment times generally fill. You might want to pick a quieter time of the quarter. We can take the time to really look at, really spend some time looking at your plans, and that way you'll be set up for the following quarter. Also, if you look at number 5 on the outline, we do mention the EUB. We've talked about them briefly before. They are representatives of the department. They do hold a bunch of seminar events, math reviews. They hold a seminar or an info session usually a couple of times a year, if not each quarter, on our 400 level courses. So if you're looking at taking different 400 level courses, they can kind of give you a student perspective, since most of them have taken almost all of our 400 level courses. And it also talks about the importance of class participation under number 5, and that's something I really encourage you to do. A lot of our faculty members really want students to ask good questions and participate in their lectures and really give that feedback. And chances are, if you have a question, there's other students with a similar question. So it's a great way for you to learn from each other. And talking about faculty too, I would also recommend that you make the time to go to office hours, get to know your faculty members. It could really help, and especially if you're thinking of references for particular jobs or for internships or especially graduate programs, you really want to be able to have your faculty members be able to really speak about you in the most positive way possible and about your interests. So start getting to know your faculty members early.
Okay, and so to close off here, just something not so fun to talk about, but it's important to talk about, is academic misconduct and cheating. The student conduct code is something that is expected of every student to abide by, but on top of that, the Department of Economics also has its own addition to the student conduct code on academic policy. There is a Department of Economic policy on academic conduct as well. So on the website you can find that under programs and courses. Make sure to familiarize yourself with this policy, as all of our instructors, both faculty and graduate student instructors, are all aware of this policy and all enforce this policy. So just make sure that you're familiar with those department policies on academic conduct. There is a link there that you'll see under letter B of the UW's Community Standards and Student Conduct, and so you'll be able to see that there. Again, make sure just to familiarize yourself with the University Student Conduct Code. Letter C there says, if you're not sure what is okay versus not okay in your coursework, and to please consult with your instructor. Sometimes it may be kind of not so clear on an assignment or something like that, or a paper or a project. Sometimes it might not be clear if you're expected to do individual work or if it's okay to do that in a group. And it's always important to just check with your instructor if you're not quite 100% clear on kind of how to go about doing your work. And so again, just always consult with your instructor, and your instructor should be able to clarify the expectations of whatever assignment they have for you. Okay,
and that concludes our second volume of the information sessions. In the next session, we'll talk about various opportunities within the department, like our certificates, our honors program, study abroad, jobs and internships. Thanks for listening.